to and joining. Um, doo, doo, doo. 'Cause there's a couple people that said that they wanted to make sure that they watched this. So that's why I wanted to make sure I tagged them in this. There we go. And okay, almost done. Not the fastest tagger. Okay, so now that I got that squared away, let's get into it. So again, disclaimer, I'm not a financial coach. I'm just giving you tips that help me and my life. Because a little bit of backstory about me is I just grew up super, super poor, like real poor. Like on the streets poor, been evicted probably like 3 times or more as a kid, homeless shelter as a kid, projects as a kid. So clearly, my parents did not teach me about finances at all. Um, Anything that I learned about finances was like 90% self taught. 10% of it came from like my grandmother. Um, who like helped me to learn like how to balance a checkbook and how to like make sure that you pay your bills on time and stuff like that, but it was like super basic stuff. So most of the stuff I learned on my own, and I will let you guys know what those resources are here in a second. And so, um, first tip that I have is when I went to go buy a car. Obviously, if you have bad credit, it's going to um, have like higher interest rates. So, like my first car, I did not have like a co-signer at all. Nobody would co-sign for me. I was 18, 19 years old when I got my first car. My granddad, he like gave me $500 to kind of help me out a little bit. But other than that, like everything else was on me. So the first tip that I have, if you can, is pre-qualify. So pre-qualify with a credit union, pre-qualify with Capital One, pre-qualify with Carvana, because when you go to a dealership, um, they will like run your credit against a lot of different banks sometimes, and it will add sometimes up to 50 inquiries on your credit score, which drops your credit score even worse than before. So it's always better, like Dave Ramsey says, is to buy a cash car from Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, and just buy something that's a few $1,000s, like $5,000 and under, which I've done this before. I've bought a cash car and I spent $3,000 to get it fixed up to where it was drivable. So I spent $2,000 on a cash car before and spent, well, it was like 2,500, and then I spent 3,000 to get it fixed to like where the brakes and calipers and axles and all that stuff worked fine. But the idea is that it's better to buy a cash car and get it fixed and have no payment at all than to have like a super expensive payment um, that you cannot afford. It's always better to kind of like live below your means. And then when you are ready to buy a car with good credit, then try to pre-qualify so that you don't have the dealership running your credit up against a whole bunch of banks. And like I said, credit union is really good. Navy Federal Credit Union, if you had somebody that was in the service, is a really good bank. Um, so yeah, credit unions are really good. Capital One and Carvana are two others that will also pre-qualify you, and it won't hit your credit at all, and you'll know your payment terms right up front. So that's what is like really, really nice about pre-qualifying, is that you'll know like how much you have to put down, you'll know your interest rate, and then the lower the interest rate, the better, because that means that the majority of your payment is going towards paying off your car and less of it is going towards the bank making money off of it. So house purchasing is the next topic that I'll go over. And I'll let you guys know up front that this is just like an overall generalized money mindset thing. So like if you want me to go more in depth, like if you find like, oh, I want to know more about what you were talking about on cars, or I want to know more about what you were talking about on houses, or I want to know more about what you're talking about on credit scores, then just let me know and I can go like more in depth on one of these topics, any one of these topics. And like I said, I'll point you guys in resources that help me. And then there's a group expert in this group. She's a realtor. She's bought multiple properties. She manages Airbnbs, and she's a mom herself. And on this fitness journey with you guys in this group. So, and her name is Abba. So I will also lead you guys in her direction as well. Oh, there. Hey, Abba, how you doing? So I was just talking about you, girl. When it comes to like house purchasing, there's so many different factors. There's the lender, there's the realtor, there's the closing costs, which you may not even have known about if you haven't like learned about house purchasing yet. There's the down payment and like the loan type. And then there's like the actual score that goes into that. So one thing you'll want to do is like make sure that you actually first check your MyFICO credit score. So it's FICO, and their website is myfico.com, because that's your real credit score. There's like Credit Karma is a Vantage 3.0 credit score. It's not your real credit score. So you'll want to make sure that you check your real credit score. Make sure that out of the three numbers, because you'll have one number that's really high, you'll have one that's lower, and then you'll have one that's in the middle. So you'll want to make sure that the number that's in the middle is at least a 620 or higher. And so there is also what's called a mortgage score. So you'll want to make sure that when you go to myfico.com and you purchase your scores, that it's your mortgage scores, your mortgage 2.0 score that you're looking at, because your FICO score actually has multiple scores in itself too, as well. So go to myfico.com, purchase your credit scores, make sure that you're looking at your actual mortgage scores, and then make sure that out of the three numbers, that the one that's not the highest, not the lowest, but the one that's in the middle is at least a 620 or higher. And then at that point, you can apply for different loans. There is, I'm going to say it, the FHA mortgage loans that are 3.5% down. There's USD loans, which means that these are like houses that are like more so out in the country that are 0% down. There are special types of loans for active military and vets that are lower discount down. And then there's like the traditional mortgage that is like 20% down, but some banks like Navy Federal, for instance, they will accept like 5% down. And Navy Federal used to have it where you could even do 0% down on some of their loans, but you are going to pay a higher mortgage per month. Your interest rate is going to be higher basically if you do 0 down, and your monthly payment is going to be higher too. So that's kind of going into the down payment. And then closing cost, I believe, is it 3%? I'll ask Abba. Abba, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're still here. But I believe your closing cost is around 3% cost. And so it's just like a lot of different fees for, like, for instance, your home inspection. There's a lot of different things that go into it, but this is something that you're going to want to make sure that you put money aside. You're going to want to put, um, I think we personally had 10% saved for our closing costs, but that may have been based on the cost of our house too. So this is where like I said, I am not a financial advisor, but I will point you in the direction of Abba, who is a real estate agent. Like I said, she owns multiple properties, has Airbnbs, that sort of thing, and she could answer like any of these types of questions. But I just want you guys to know about the fact that there are closing costs when you are buying a house, because it's not just the down payment that you're going to have. Because if you go into this thinking that you are only going to have a down payment, and there will be no other type of fees or anything like that, then you will be surprised and also disappointed that you won't be able to go through with your transaction. Um, so, realtor, they um, make a certain percentage commission off the home. So they don't make any money if you don't purchase the house. So it's their job to like take care of you, make sure that any questions are answered, that your contracts are going through smoothly, negotiate for you, um, and then lender. Um, I highly suggest like a credit union. Like I said, Navy Federal is like a really good one, but then also your local credit union, like Kimba Financial. There's a lot of good credit unions to go to as far as lenders. But what I will say that the perk of like working with a smaller lender is that they can pull your credit and tell you specifically what you need to work on. Um, so, like for instance, our very first um, application to Navy Federal was not approved. And there were just like small things that we had to work on. Whereas like a small lender was able to like tell us, like, hey, this is what you need to fix specifically, and then come back in 30 days, 60 days, and we will reevaluate and recheck your scores to see if you are eligible for a loan. So don't be afraid to work with a small lender either. Um, but just always make sure that you're shopping around for the best closing costs, the best interest rates, and not just, going with a specific lender just for X, Y, and Z reason. Another thing that I was going to tell you guys is like there are lenders too that kind of do things like all online and more fast paced, such as like Rocket Mortgage or Quicken Loans. So there's like different benefits to like certain types of lenders. Like the small lender is going to be able to work with you on various things that are on your credit. Um, Credit unions may be able to offer you better interest rates, and like they may have various programs as far as like, hey, if you work with our specific realtors, then we will give you um, a certain amount off, um, like closing cost or some type of rebate. And then there may be some online lenders such as like Quicken Loans that may work better for you as far as like going more fast paced and like just having like a less more of a smoother transaction, because buying a house will probably be one of the biggest purchases that you ever make, and it is can be a very like stressful time. So different perks to different types of lenders. So that's all I'll go on that. So building credit, super, super important. And I would say to start this process right away, like even if you have negative things on your credit, you're going to want to make sure that you're building credit right away, because I personally made the mistake of not building credit while removing negative things off of my credit. So what I will say is that make sure that you're getting like secured cards or store cards, because those are the easier cards to have. Discover has a secured card and Capital One has a secured card. There's other secured cards out there, but a secured card basically is like, hey, if you can have a credit line with us, but we're going to hold a deposit, and just in case you don't pay back, because you're a risk to us. So they will hold X, Y, and Z amount. Sometimes they want the deposit to equal the amount of the credit line. Sometimes they'll just want $50 to $100. It just depends. I'm sorry, excuse me, guys. But get a secured card. Store cards can be easier to get. And then there are some beginner cards, like the Capital One Platinum card is kind of one of those beginner cards. Credit One, so not Capital One, but Credit One is one of those beginner type of lenders, credit card lenders. And so you're going to want to start building credit because credit length and like the amount of years and the amount of time and your payment history needs to build up. So like you can clean up your credit all you want to, and there'd be like no collections on your credit, for instance. But if you haven't spent time showing that you have payment history, showing that you have payment history, and showing that you have like a certain amount of months, like 6 to 12 months of credit history, then it's not going to matter if you have like super clean credit if you aren't also building credit at the same time. So don't waste time just only cleaning up your credit, but also make sure that you're building credit too. So erasing bad credit. So I had a ton of collections on my credit initially because I purposefully had stopped paying on certain things to go to nursing school. So before I went to nursing school, I had a bank job that only paid me $13 an hour. And so I quit that in order to go to nursing school. So I was basically jobless. And then my family was only on one income, and that was the risk that we took in order for one of us to have an education. So because we were going to bring kids into the world, so we wanted opportunity for our kids to like have parents that have more money, basically. So so I had collections from when I stopped working and like had no job, and I disputed these things via written letter with certified mail. And the free group that I'm going to point you guys to is called Credit Warriors. Hopefully you guys are a part of it. She has a lot of free resources in there to show you specifically how to write the letters, how to send it certified mail in order to dispute the collections. Because basically when companies, whenever you don't pay something and it gets sent off to another company for collections, that money that you didn't pay is a tax write-off for the original company. So And by law, you are allowed, like there's like some Fair Credit Act or something like that, that it's basically saying that you have the right to dispute these collections accounts. And so this is the very first step in erasing bad credit, because whatever the credit bureaus will erase for you is good, because then you won't have to settle the collections, like pay the 30% of the balance, or whatever. So dispute first. Handwrite the letters, because um, typed up ones just go through like some type of scanner or a computer, and they don't reach a human being. You want your letter to reach a human being. You want to send it certified mail so you have a paper trail. Um, and you're basically asking them to investigate um, the collection. And the thing is that they don't keep proof of these collections, and they're supposed to. So a lot of times they'll just erase the collections off of your credit, because they know that they're supposed to keep proof on file that these debts actually belong to you. And 99% of the time, the credit bureaus do not. So technically, they're not following guidelines, and because of that, you can take advantage of that, and they can erase these collections. Um, you can also dispute inquiries via letter, and then in collections, you would call the actual company and let them know, like, hey, I am getting ready to buy a house, and whoever makes a deal with me first is the collection company that's going to get the money. So I'm just calling to see if you are willing to make a deal with me. And usually you can pay like 50, 40, 30% of the balance. Obviously, the lower that you can get that, the better. Sometimes you may even have to escalate it to like management or whatnot in order to um, get the percentage down lower, as low as you possibly can. And sometimes they'll let you know, like, hey, this is the lowest that we can go. But settling is what you'll do after you've disputed collections like multiple times. So like this is like a whole process that may take 3 months. I would say like 3 to 6 months in order to like clean up your credit, just depending on um, how many collections you may have or negative things you may have on your credit. So what all goes into your credit score is like collections or derogatory negative history, credit limits, which you want to keep yours 30% or below. I'll say 29% or below. Make sure that your cards aren't maxed out, because this actually goes against your credit score. How long and how many years that you've had good credit, the amount of inquiries, and then also your payment history. You want that to be 100% on time. And so the biggest factors, honestly, are making sure that you're 29% or less, or 30% or less on your credit card limits, on each card and also overall. And then also the collections is a really big high impact item. And then your credit history, the length of it is another high impact item. So that's why having student loans on your credit isn't usually a bad thing, because those are usually going to be your longest loans on there. So some people, they want to like get rid of their student loans right away, but it actually kind of works in your favor as far as your credit length history. So that is the end. This is a 30-minute presentation. I probably should have cut this in half. But if there's something that you guys want me to go over again specifically, then let me know. This is like a presentation that, I want to encourage you guys to like invest in yourself. Pay yourself first. So make sure that you are like setting aside a certain amount of money each paycheck and paying yourself first, because whenever you buy a house, whenever you buy a car or clothes, or just anything, you're paying the wealthy person or bank behind that item. So make sure that you are paying yourself first, and then also investing in your health and fitness journey too, because for me, whenever I would come up against a lump sum of money, I would build my home gym because of the fact that that was important to me. Um, because a gym in itself is, paying the wealthy person behind that gym ownership. Like you're keeping that gym membership lights open, that gym company's lights on. But if you own the dumbbells, if you own the treadmill, if you own X, Y, and Z, then it's yours and you can use it anytime. You're not paying monthly for it. And so for me, it was really super important to build my own home gym because my kids are at home and I can work out while they're here. I don't have to worry about childcare. And I own the equipment myself. I'm not paying to keep, some other companies' lights on. And gym memberships is just one of those things that a lot of people don't even use. And so it's just wasted money every month. I even have a couple that I need to cancel. So yeah, because it like you keep it because you think that you're going to use it and then you never do. So it's better to just go to the Walmart, grab some dumbbells, and do some home workouts, which I do. Um, I have free workouts that I do, and they're on YouTube. They're on my YouTube page. You can inbox me for them. Just hashtag free workouts in this comment section below, and I'll make sure I get those links to you. So hopefully this helped. And hashtag replay once again. If you were watching this on replay, if you got any benefit or takeaways from this, then let me know. You can find me on all of my socials at indymichelle.fit. So we went over a lot. And again, I am not a financial advisor whatsoever. I will point you guys in the direction of Ava. Like I said, she owns like multiple properties as an Airbnb owner. She's a mother. She's on this fitness journey with you guys. She's in this group too. And she can help you with your real estate needs. And then the Credit Warriors free group is where I got all my knowledge from. And how I was able to like learn all these different things so that I was able to buy a car, $50,000 pre-qualified, 0 down, 3% rate, buy a house for a really good price. And yeah, so I mean, I learned a lot from that free group. I wouldn't have been able to get my house and car without that free group. So I'll link their group in the comment section below. And I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Just remember that anything you want in life, it's just faith, consistency, and hard work away. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.